Hey everybody. Well, Christmas Day. Um, Actually in the process of re-spraying my bathtub at the moment, so yeah, lots of fun. Um, Sorry it's been a while since I've done an update on the 310. Haven't been feeling too good lately. But I've been getting some work done, as you can see. Just got all my graphics yesterday from Cali Graphics, and as usual, they are perfect. It's really coming together. It's looking good. This is probably, I think, the first time that I've shown it on video of the entire wing in one piece. So, yeah, I have a tiny house, of course, a tiny basement. Oops, excuse me. And it takes up quite a bit of room. One thing I'm particularly proud of is I finally found a spray paint that matches Monocoat Insignia Blue. I mean, it's not a perfect match, especially being under direct fluorescent light. It'll show any imperfection, but once it's outside, that's going to be a really close match. So, yeah, that's one color I've never been able to match with a spray paint, ever. So I'm pretty happy about that. But recently I've done a lot of work on the nacelle. What I've done is I got the right-hand nacelle completely finished before I have even started on the left. So I don't even have my second engine yet or anything. I wanted to make sure this one was completely finished. So housed inside is the RCG F26. As you can see, it fits in there pretty good. Doesn't take up too much room. You know, kind of sticks out a little, but that's not a big deal. I mean, when you have a nacelle or a cowl that's only, that thick, it's hard to get an engine that'll stay in there completely. But I'm pretty happy with the way it turned out and the way it fits. But setting up the inside of the nacelle was a little bit of a chore. So you have to kind of use your imagination. My carburetor sits about right here. It's right up against the firewall. And of course the throttle arm is right here, or right here. As you can see, it's a pretty good size opening down in there. It goes down pretty far. But to run a throttle servo to run the throttle linkage without having the servo right in the center taking up all that real estate was kind of interesting. So what I had to do, hang on. Yeah, I'm doing some last minute work to the inside of the fuselage. Every time I think I'm done working on the fuselage, I find something else that I wanted to do different. That happens. Okay, back on subject here. So what I had to do for the throttle servo is I came up with this guy right here. Yeah, it's pretty fancy looking, isn't it? So this is the only part I had to duplicate exact before I buried the servo down in there so I can duplicate it over here. So I actually will, before I lose it. So it might be kind of hard to see, but you can see the throttle servo right down in there. And it's at an angle more on this side of the nacelle. So the servo sits at an angle and it's got a really wonky bend that goes to the carburetor. And that allowed me to keep the servo far enough off to the side. And what I did for the tank, this may look kind of busy, but it's actually it's a setup that I like to use. The ignition is underneath the tank, soft mounted to the nacelle, and the tank is soft mounted on top of the ignition. So everything is very vibration proof. Everything is nice and cushioned. Now the way that I've held the tank in there, and I like to do installs like this. I got kind of creative with a piece of 1/4 inch by 1 inch on top of this, I don't know what that is, 5/8 by quarter inch, something like that. And I just made this little brace that goes over the tank, and it has a glue joint here and a glue joint back in there. And what that does is that keeps the tank from going this way and this way. So it's in there. But if I need to get that tank out of there, all I gotta do is give this a good whap with my fingers and it'll break that glue joint. It'll break that glue joint. I can pop this brace out of there, take the tank out. When I'm done, put it back in, a couple drops of glue, we're good to go. So it's a semi-permanent installation. You know, that way I don't have to worry about putting in hard points and screws and all that stuff. Hopefully I'd never have to take them out of there, but if I do have to take them out, it's relatively simple. And the battery pack is just going to sit up here. This will have Velcro. I'll put the battery on there, then put a large piece of foam, kind of like this, over top. Then it'll be good to go. Of course, each nacelle has its own switch, fuel dot on the side. So yeah, it's looking pretty good. Let's see, what else was I going to have here? I think that's about it. I just wanted to do a quick video on the update of the wing. And yeah, that's about it. Once again, those graphics from Callie, she does a great job. I found a very rough picture online of this airplane. And the weird thing is, this is the Cessna 310. I believe they called it the UB3, which is the Air Force version of the Cessna 310. But it was nicknamed the Blue Canoe. I mean, it does kind of look like a giant blue canoe if you think about it. But I have found so many different pictures where the markings on some of them are big, like this. You know, this one here, I mean, when I put my hand there, that's a big marking. And the same with the USAF. I mean, that's big. So some of the pictures I found, they were big like that, and other pictures they were small. And the same tail number. So I was kind of not quite understanding why a plane with the same tail number, I found different pictures of different size markings. So that was kind of weird. So I just sent a couple different photos to Callie, told her the size of the airplane, and said, you know, do what you think is right. And I think she did a fantastic job. I kind of like the larger size anyway. I mean, that really stands out in the air, really looks good. And I still have to put the stars and bars on the fuselage, put the number on the tail, and that'll pretty much be it. So, there we have it. I was going to try to go flying today, but started snowing, it got kind of windy. I decided not to. I haven't flown in a long time anyway. But it's rare that I feel like going flying these days, so... Oh well. Alright, well... I'm going to go upstairs and do some more work on the bathtub. Fun, fun, fun. And... probably come down and put the graphics on the tail. Or on the fuselage here. I still have to put a white band across the blue right here because the tail numbers go across the fin, but I gotta make sure that area is white so you can actually see the numbers. I forgot to do that when I painted the tail. Whoops. But no big deal. No big deal. Oh yeah. So I've gotten pretty good at water heaters. This is my third one since I've been in this house, and I had that sucker swapped out in 30 minutes on the button. I'm pretty proud of myself. You know, I'm not a plumber or anything like that, so yep, pretty proud of myself. Just on a side note, water heaters suck. It took me almost 4 hours to drain this sucker, one bucket at a time. Ugh. Anyways, hope everybody has or is having a good holiday. And probably the next video will either be, I'm trying to think what the next video would be. Probably when I get the other nacelle finished and probably have the airplane completely assembled in the basement. But it's going to be some time. I mean, I got to buy an engine, then I got to buy the components, and I'm a poor maintenance technician, so I don't make that much money. So I may not have an update video for a while, but I still have some old event videos from the good old days. So I like to do that in the wintertime. Put up some old videos. I know everybody enjoys those. But either way, catch y'all later.